And that should be going. You guys we'll see that in a moment. All right, we are recording, everybody. So let me go ahead and share my screen, and then I'll go ahead and get us kicked off for today. So, right, you should be able to see my screen. Can you confirm?
Yep.
All right. So thank you. Well, and welcome everybody. I really appreciate your time this evening, wherever you are in the world. I'm actually joining you right now from Wrightsville Beach, North Carolina. In the Northeast, my kids, where I live, where I reside in outside of New York City, my kids actually don't go to school. If someone can admit the person that will go ahead, that would be great. But my kids actually don't start school until next Tuesday. So we had a luxury week, as I would call it, the week before Labor Day, to go ahead and sneak in a vacation. So we had a chance to visit some family down here in North Carolina, and then head out and have a nice beach vacation. So it's been really nice down here thus far. But at any rate, welcome to the Wealth Mindset and Real Estate Investing Meetup. I'm your host, Chris Price. I am also the CEO and co-founder of Red Fox Multifamily. And let me tell you a little bit about our meetup here before I go ahead and hand it over to Parker to present to us this evening. So the Wealth Mindset and Real Estate Investing Meetup is open to all who are interested in growing generational wealth through passive real estate investing and increasing their financial intelligence. This meetup is for the busy professionals and retirees across various industries. The individuals in the group make a good living and they have discretionary income to invest in real estate for its proven wealth building power, but they don't necessarily have the time or the skill set or the network to do it at speed and at scale, which is something that's really important. And so this meetup will focus on helping us all grow our wealth mindset by learning how to build and preserve wealth while developing and maintaining an abundance mindset. This meetup will focus on multifamily real estate investing as well as proven ways to build wealth through real estate through passive investments. And Parker's going to talk about a really cool way for us to do that in a moment. And before I get into that, just as some logistics, as I mentioned before, if you're not speaking, please mute your lines. Please hold your questions to the end of the presentation, unless, Parker, if you'd like to invite folks to speak, or ask questions throughout, please do. I just want to make sure that, typically what I see happen is that the presenter will answer the questions along the way here. This material will be recorded, and this material does not constitute an offer or a solicitation to purchase securities. This is for information only and should not be construed as a business, financial, or legal advice. Those of you, if you want to remain connected with me, please go ahead and reach out to me either through the meetup.com, or you can send me an email at chris@redfox multifamily. So our agenda today is I'm gonna introduce our speaker this evening. Our speaker is going to present. We're gonna have a Q&A, and then we're going to do, if everyone wants to hang out for a few minutes afterwards, feel free to do a little virtual networking. All right. So let me go ahead and introduce my friend Parker Pursell here, who is the newly minted SVP at the EQRP company. And the EQRP company, Parker will get into in a moment, but after working his way through the ranks at Chick-fil-A, Parker joined the EQRP company to help individuals break from the traditional way of thinking about money. He combines his passion for people and training with EQRP's unique strategies to help individuals and business owners learn how to have variety and certainty in their financial future. And just a little bit, I will also tell you that that I utilize the EQRP as a part of my investment strategy. I know we're going to talk a bit about this, but outside of this, Parker I know is just a terrific person. We've had a chance to connect over a year plus now, I would say. In addition to that, I know Parker and his lovely wife are expecting their first child here soon, and that's going to be super awesome as you enter into parenthood and add this next notch in your belt, man. So I want to thank you for your time this evening, and that you're granting us to help us educate ourselves on the EQRP and what this is all about. And at this point, I'd like to stop presenting and hand it over to you so that you can share with the team. All right.
Awesome. Can you give me access to
Yes,
share screen?
I will do that right now.
Perfect.
You should be good.
Perfect. Oh, well, I don't use Microsoft Teams that often.
Yeah, I can
Uh,
walk you through it. So when you hit the next to the microphone button, there's a button that says share.
mhm.
And when you hit share, you can share your screen, and then that will pull it. That will share the entire screen.
Okay, perfect. So I may have to jump right back in because I had to change some settings on my computer. So hold on just one moment.
No problem. Let me make you a presenter again.
I
And
appreciate
you
it, guys. Okay. You all have been so patient. So thank you. Share the window, Chrome tab. All right. Let
we
me
got you.
know. Y'all see it?
Yep, we got you.
Perfect. All right. Thank you again, Chris, for just allowing me to share. He and I did get connected a little over a year ago, and Chris is an awesome individual, uh, very knowledgeable. It's been fun to kind of walk through this with you and be a resource, not only for just you personally, but for your community. So thank you for allowing me to share. Uh, as you said, my name is Parker Pursell, and I'm the now Senior Vice President of the EQRP company. And what the EQRP company stands for is Enhanced Qualified Retirement Plan. It's just our way of monitoring a self-directed 401k, not only for individuals, but for business owners too. And so what's unique in my kind of journey here at the EQRP is this mission of freedom and control. And so I use this picture of William Wallace because it's actually a beautiful description of that type of feeling that our company moves with, the sense of purpose that we seek to do everything at our company for our clients, for uh, people out there looking to learn these new strategies. We're all about trying to empower you as the individual. And so I like this picture of William Wallace. If you've all seen Braveheart, then you know uh, this scene here. It's pretty powerful. And so our goal is to break the fight. Sorry, our goal is to free people of the shackles that hold in bondage. And I used to be one of those people. I was telling Chris before we started, I just think of my trajectory. I've been here at the EQRP almost 2 years now. Coming up, November 2nd will be my 2-year anniversary. And I am one of those million people. And it's important because I feel like I can identify with a lot of people in this start of their journey of looking for other ways to get outside of we'll call it the rat race, right? Just their traditional way of thinking about money, um, the fears that we have towards it, other unique strategies of how to take a dollar and turn it into three. And that's what the EQRP's done for me. And to be quite honest, like I sit there and think of where my life would be without having come into this community. Uh, I'd still be the same place that I'm at. I mean, I've been very blessed to have some great jobs, do well, but my trajectory on a bell curve has gone from this to just started to skyrocket. So super thankful for this community and being able to share this knowledge, because we feel like if we could get 1 million people on board with this community, this ecosystem that we have, that it can create a movement, and movements are powerful, right? And so our goal is to support, educate, and inspire people to just think different and take control from the traditional ways of investing their money. And the biggest shackle holder on people's minds on the economy is really Wall Street, right? And so this picture is great because it symbolizes what Wall Street does every time you give them $1, right? Every time you drop money in your traditional 401ks or your IRAs, Wall Street celebrates because they are like, well, now I'm going to, use this money to further advantage our agenda, put money in politicians' pockets, you name it. We're going to go buy Ferraris, country club memberships. They're not really looking out for you because it's your money. Your intent is for it to grow. They're thinking about bonuses, meeting their quotas, right? And so you're probably, third or fourth down on the list for most of them. And I'm not saying that all financial advisors are bad by any means, because I know great ones. Some of them are really close and they really do work, but the environment itself of Wall Street is really suffocating and does not give you any type of certainty that things are going to get better, especially now. Now, I'm sure if I did a show of hands, I can't see anybody's faces, but if I saw a show of hands for most people in this environment, the answer that I've been getting lately is, do you think that Wall Street is giving you more certainty that your financial future is going to be better? And most are going to say no, right? And so what I like to say is Wall Street's much like prison, right? There's no certainty, there's no variety in your options to invest. Everything's cookie cutter. Yes, you may have stocks. You may have 1,000 different stocks, and you'll hear these self-directed IRA companies, or even inside the traditional structures of 401ks say, yeah, you can self-direct. Okay, I can self-direct through Google or a target fund or an index fund. Like, that's not really self-directing because it's still limiting you to one aspect of the market, which is still not giving you options to all these other great things that are out there. So I guarantee you these people in this picture, they're sitting there eating the same thing every day, which is much of what Wall Street does. They all look the same. There's no options or variety in the food that's in front of them. And they know that the next day they're going to have the same thing that they probably had on the Tuesday the week before. So there's got to be a better way, right? So with us, this idea of variety, it's one of the 6 human needs that we seek. Certainty and variety, those are 2 of the 6. And so for us, we created an avenue for people to have more certainty and more variety, right? Variety is a great thing. Imagine walking into the grocery store of investment options and not being limited to just one aisle, right? Like the picture you saw before of the prison cell, like what you're getting. When you walk into a grocery store and you're limited to one aisle, it's like, wow, well, I want to touch everything else that's over there. And Wall Street's like, no, can't do that. You're just going to stay right here. But in the EQRP, what this environment does is opens you up to all the possibilities that are out there. We're talking real estate, private lending, crypto, you name it. There's so many different things that you can invest in. And our team is here as an operating system to really help you maximize those opportunities and give you coaching and consultation on what that looks like. And let's be real. If you can invest in real estate, then wouldn't you like to have more certainty like Steph Curry does when he shoots a 3 that's going to go in? That's the type of certainty that you get when you have control. When Steph looks at someone else shooting a 3, he's like, I don't know. I don't know if he's going to make it, because he's putting control in someone else's hands. But when he gets the ball, I guarantee you that my percentage of making this shot is going to be higher. The same thing applies when it comes to you having control of your money. And so if you have control of your retirement versus Wall Street, what's the certainty that your returns are going to be bigger, right? That they're going to provide you a better return instead of the basic S&P, right? So we want you to feel that certainty that Steph Curry has when he's shooting the three. He knows that he's not going to make 100% of them, but he knows with him being able to shoot the ball instead of putting his hope in someone else, that percentage is going to be higher. And so that is why the EQRP was born. And what it is, it's a private retirement checkbook that you have access to, much like your own personal checkbook. Sits in a bank account. You can fund deals in as little as 5 minutes. We build in asset protection inside the plan. So as you're investing in these things outside of the market, whether it be real estate, private lending, you're protected by a corporate structure that we build inside of your plan. And two, I'll get into this in a minute, but debt, especially in the real estate space, can hurt you if you're not using the right vehicle to do it with your retirement. And so what this plan is also adaptable to have employees or just you as an individual. And traditional 401k plans don't allow you to have employees and self-direct. If you got a solo 401k, you're going to have to shut it down and move back to a traditional structure. The EQRP gives you the best of both worlds. So as you're growing your business, right, and you bring employees in, you don't lose the ability to self-direct your retirement. So your options, as I was saying earlier, these are just a few of many that are out there, but you can obviously invest in real estate. There's global options. You've got gold and silver. Bitcoin obviously is a big topic out there. Number of other different things. So I want to work through really the vehicle structure, right? Not all retirement vehicles are created the same. And it's important to know that. So most of what you're told about the retirement structure system when it comes to self-directing is, like self-directed IRAs, that's how you do it. Well, yes, but do you know how each structure works? So they both sit in two separate tax codes, but if your strategy is to be in stocks, then maybe a self-directed IRA is fine because you're not using debt, things aren't going to hurt you, you have less control, and you're not really wanting to do a lot of movement. But if you're an alternative investor and you're looking to get into all these other options that are out there for you, your goal is to move your money as quick as you can, have less red tape, more control, more certainty, and more variety, and less tax liability, right? So the difference, a couple of things that are different with these two vehicles is, as I was saying, with self-directed IRAs, they're slower because they have custodians involved. Legally, they're set up to have a middleman, we'll say, in the process, which is always going to slow things up. And it's your money, right? Debt's going to hurt you, so it's not your friend inside of an IRA. Your contribution levels are really small too. And they're set up for retailers. So if you're an average Joe with a W-2 working a job, like anybody can have an IRA and contribute. But with EQRPs, legally, the way they're set up is you are the trustee of this plan, which is technically a retirement savings trust. So you as the trustee get to act on behalf of the trust, which gives you quicker movement. There's no custodian involved because you serve as the fiduciary responsible person over the account. Debt is not going to hurt you. So there's no limitation on debt and having any tax liability on you. And then the contribution limits are much higher inside of this plan because you are the employee and employer, which gives you the ability to profit share to yourself because the business that sponsors the plan is contributing much higher levels. So just a real quick case study on what this looks like. So let's say you're investing in a syndication deal and want to know what are the implications of each vehicle if I was to use it in the same deal. So this was actually a deal from one of our clients that put this up, and it was a $50 million purchase. So I'll use percentages here, but you see the numbers. You had a $10 million cash down payment with an 80% leverage. 40 million was leveraged in the deal. So it sold 5 years later on the exit for 100 million. So if you had used 100,000 from your IRA, then you doubled your investment to 200,000, which is great. But because of the provision inside of IRAs, which basically says debt is not your friend, you use debt to make more of a return. So the government now is like, well, now you owe us. So the way UDFI triggered UBIT works is 80% now of your profits that you made are now being taxed because 80% leverage was used. And that tax limit is up to 37% on that 80% profit. So you're looking at paying close to $30,000 in tax just because you use debt, right? And so you're thinking, well, geez, you're walking away with 50. So you really, you had 100% return, right? But now you've got so much of that cut out, right? Almost, 40%, 40% of that cut out because you use an IRA, and you could have used that money towards your next syndication. So as I was saying, that's the tax that you're up against when you use IRAs, and it's just going to kill your returns. EQRPs are exempt from this limitation. Why? It's just how it was written. 401ks are not subject to paying that tax. And especially if you're using real estate, going in these deals with debt, you want to use the vehicle that's debt friendly. And so there's no other vehicle that you want to use but this to make those returns back. And you'll never have to worry about it. So now what you're looking at is, instead of paying $30,000 to the government, you've now given yourself a $30,000 get out of jail free card to go invest in the next thing, and then just compound that over time, right? So all of this is education, and the more you know, the better decisions that you can make down the road. So you may ask, like, okay, if I'm already invested with a self-directed IRA, is there hope for me? Absolutely. So what it's called is an in-kind rollover, and we have people do this all the time. So they'll call us and say, hey, like, I've got a deal that's closing in a couple months, and I just learned about you guys. What can I do to get out of this? So what you do is, it's almost like if you were driving a car and headed to the finish line, right? And you go out one lap early and switch to another car and hop back in and go. Nothing changes because you have changed the vehicle to which you are in. But let's say you hopped in from a Camry to a Ferrari. Now that Ferrari just has different components to it and can get you where you want to go faster. So you're not going to be penalized on that, though. So you now hop in this new vehicle, retirement vehicle, and you've just avoided paying that tax that otherwise you would have paid just because you had more knowledge. So you're looking at a $30,000 tax savings immediately, and you're free from that, which is awesome. So who's qualified? Honestly, anybody. So if you've got a W-2 job, if you're a passive investor, if you're self-employed, syndicators that are out there like Chris here, if you've got employees, there's really no reason why you shouldn't have a plan like this. All 401ks ask is that you have business activity that you're generating. So 401ks, because they're sponsored by a business, you don't have to have income present to qualify. So I'll use myself as an example. I got a side business that I'm working right now. It's generating no money, right? More expense is going into it, but I'm qualified because I am doing work that could generate income at a later date. And that's all people do to qualify. And we actually have a program too that helps people feel like, well, I don't have anything. Well, we can provide you with those resources to qualify and make it really easy for you. So there's really no reason why you shouldn't have a plan. And there's two ways that people put money inside something like this. Is they do it through a rollover. So they've got old 401ks or traditional IRAs lying around, SEP IRAs, you name it. Pretty much everything can move into an EQRP other than a Roth IRA and an inherited IRA. There's these other option too of contributing. So if you've got a business that you're working that's generating some income out of it and you're looking to mitigate your tax liability, then you can put in up to $67,000 a year. That's with the catch up, but you can have both deferred and Roth. So if you want to tax defer that income to a later date, you can do that. Or if you just want to pay taxes now and make money tax free forever, that's the way you can go too, which I'm a Roth guy myself. I know that taxes are going to be much higher at a later date than they are today. So I might as well go ahead and pay it, get rid of it, put it in there. I have the ability to access it if I want. So, Roth is one of those scary things to the government because they basically said, hey, we want you to put your money in the stock market. We'll give you this option to never pay taxes again. But now they realize a guy named Peter Thiel, I don't know if you've ever heard of him, but he has a $5.3 billion Roth IRA, and he's never going to get taxed on that money. So when the government sees guys like that taking advantage of something that they allowed, they are going to do everything they can to, at some point, try and eliminate that. That's just a hunch that I have. There's nothing saying that that's going to happen in the future, but as we see things happening, right, there's just this garner for more and more control. And right now, you have the ability to take that control back before Wall Street takes that over. So that's just two ways that people put money inside of this, and everybody's strategy is different. And that's what our team does. We kind of work with you to figure out what makes the most sense to set you up for success. And, this one game changer that really, I think, is very unique for people out there that don't know is what's called the safe harbor. And all this is the other proponent of what we do for small businesses. So it works the same way. If you have employees, we custom build these plans with a partner of ours. They take care of all the back end work, make your life as a business owner really easy. Everything's a flat rate fee, so you're not worried about, oh, what am I paying each year for my retirement? Every year as you're going into the fiscal year, can budget everything out, which is awesome. For me, I love that. And it's completely self-directed the same way that the EQRP is. So we build in all that asset protection. There's no UBIT tax, so debt's your friend, no custodians, and you can invest in all the things that you love, right? So syndications, gold, silver, you name it. And one of the unique aspects of a plan like this too is I get, how do I say this? I get almost get like a little antsy when people come up to me and kind of treat the EQRP like it's the same as everything else, because it's not. And our ideology is not to limit the alternative investor, because you're going to sit there and say, well, like, why would I put money in a retirement plan if I want to go invest this money? Well, you can, but if you don't understand everything holistically, there may be some aspects to it that could benefit you, right? So if you're interested in never paying taxes, this is just a tool, right? We're not saying this is the end all be all to someone's complete financial future, right? Because if you're a high income earner and you're going to get hit at the highest tax bracket and you need to dump some money somewhere, then I'm pretty sure you'd want to have a vehicle to where you could dump that money in completely tax free and then invest that money in the same things that you're investing in with your taxable income tax free. And then at a later date, right, when you hit that retirement age, now you're just pulling money completely tax free and still investing that money. It's like this salary waiting for you that's continuing to grow and compound, that you're just pulling out tax free. And so if you're a real estate professional, it's a really unique component to where if you wanted to convert a portion of your retirement of your EQRP to Roth, this is a case study one of our clients did. They had a 300,000 bonus depreciation event happen that year, and they wanted to convert. And so because they had these offsetting events, they basically took that depreciation, leveraged it against the Roth conversion. Now they just had a $300,000 completely tax-free event and didn't pay a cent for it. So they could pull that money out and use it for whatever they want, or they can continue to invest that and make all those returns tax-free and penalty-free, which is awesome. Just another unique piece of education that most people don't know. Real estate professional, there's some components to get in there, but a lot of people in this world are working towards that status too. If you're a business owner, another unique feature is being able to have your kids set up with a plan too. So this is a picture of Damien, and he was a child model for JCPenney. And so let's just say you had a dental practice or consulting business, you name it, and you wanted to use your kid for marketing services rendered. So, in my hometown where I grew up, I'd drive down Main Street and see, Dr. O'Brien with his kid in the picture, smiling, maybe some crooked teeth or whatever. But You could pay your kid for taking those pictures. They could be considered models, and you can contribute to their retirement plan up to $13,000 completely tax-free. So they don't have to pay any self-employment income on that because of the rules that are written for kids up to that $13,000 point, and you get the write-off as well. So these kids now, you could grow that Roth account. Let's say they were 5 and you invested that money, for the next 10, 15 years, and you grew it to $180,000. Now you've basically built a self-directed account that you're getting to invest for them. And that's all basis. So you have the option to pull that money out at any time, which is great to use for college or whatever else they may need. But now all the gains that you've made for them are completely tax-free for the future. So you've built their own Roth account for them that once they get to that retirement age, that they could pull out tax-free. And they have all these contributions that were made on, up front, up to that limit of whatever you contributed, they could pull out at any time, which having access to your money is important, right? It's that control piece we keep talking about. There's also a line of credit that you could take. A lot of people utilize this that have businesses that they want to make an investment in, or they want to, hey, I'm GPing a deal, but I got this retirement account. I know I can't invest in my own business or my deals, but I want to figure out a way to do that. Well, you could take a $50,000 line of credit against your own plan. So you're basically playing the bank with yourself. I like to call it like double dipping. So you pull the loan out, and whatever you use it for is fine, because the transaction is looked at as a loan between your retirement plan and yourself. You just have to pay it back over 5 years at a plus minus 1 interest rate. So let's just say you had an opportunity to go make, 18% IRR on a deal with that $50,000, then you could pull that out at a 5% interest rate. You'd pay that back over 5 years, but now you've double dipped into the return and taken that 18% to a 23% because you're not paying that interest to anyone else but yourself. Just another unique way to take your retirement money and use it to your advantage and benefit. And this was a picture of Damien where he went to go buy a pallet full of toilet paper during the crash, and he had an American Express black card. And obviously black cards, we know, I like to envision like a helicopter coming down to your house, and Tom Cruise style, people slide out with this beautiful metal case and like open it, and you're like, oh, no limit. And so his limit though got declined during the crash, and he was like, wait, what's going on? Like, sir, your card's being declined. They took his no limit off and gave him an $11,000 limit just because. But the real theme here is that he didn't have control, right? Here, you have control. There's nobody that's going to say you can't take this line of credit out against your plan. And that's very important to have. And back to this overarching theme of more certainty, right? So if you're at this crossroads of being really uncomfortable with how your journey is being played out in the hands of someone else, Steph Curry, I love Steph Curry and the Warriors. They're a unique organization and symbol of hard work, dedication, you name it. But Steph himself knows that when he has the ball in his hand and he can take control, that the results that he and his team are going to get are going to be far superior than him sitting on the sidelines, right? So you coming into the EQRP ecosystem is you taking control over your financial future and having coaches behind you that are going to be here to help support you along the way and give you that certainty. We're not here to control anything about what you do. We're just here to say, hey, how can we best support you? How can we best strategize with you? How can we best set you up for success to get to where you want to go? So that feeling of certainty and getting that championship is what you can feel when you come into our ecosystem. And that's why the EQRP was created. That's why we do what we do. That's why I get on with you and share, because I'm passionate about it. I see these results in my own life, and I'm seeing them come to fruition, which is even more important. So I hope you feel the passion of kind of where I'm coming from and why I think that this is a no-brainer strategy for people that have retirement accounts sitting out there not performing like they are. So would love to be able to offer you some information. All you do is need to text the word EQRP to that number below. which is 307-213-3475. And we'll send you a book. We will also send you a PDF, which gives you kind of an overview of the EQRP and kind of how it lines up to the rest of what's out there. But I personally would love to have a conversation with you. I dropped my contact information in the chat. I'll do it again just to make sure you all see it. And you can schedule some time on my calendar to talk about your situation and kind of see where we might could help you. And would love to connect with you all on LinkedIn. I'm very active on there. Chris and I interact a lot on there. So other than that, that's it. We'd love to open it up to some questions, and thank you for your time.
Parker, man, that was excellent. Thank you for hitting on that. And yeah, I know we have still a couple people left. Some people dropped a little early, but we are recording this. So for those who are not joining us live and who will be watching us on the recording, we'll make sure that they have this playback, but and that they can get in contact with you. But for Chris and Ted, I know that you guys are still on. Do you guys have questions or comments from what you've heard and seen today?
No, I don't. Very, very informative. Give me some thinking to do.
Yeah.
That's I appreciate it, because I've been contemplating different investments and how I want to move forward. So this gave me a little bit of a insight into different way to go.
Well, the best person to talk to is probably Chris, because he's utilizing the product himself, so he can give you kind of firsthand, the experience and what he's gone through. But
definitely. Definitely. And in fact, I wanted to talk a little bit about that, because for me, Chris, like I will tell you guys, like, that I was, before we started the session today, I was explaining to Parker to him a little bit more about my journey, and my journey in terms of the name of this meetup that we have, right, is called Wealth Mindset and Real Estate Investing. And that was intentional. The wealth mindset aspect of this was so critically important to me, because once my mind started getting opened up into these different aspects of what is financial intelligence and what does, what is financial freedom, all these new words and new phrases that were being introduced to me throughout the course of my time here. And all of a sudden, this, I would say I was listening to a podcast which Damien was on. Damien is the founder of the EQRP company, and I started learning about this thing called the EQRP, and I'm like, I have never heard about this before. And I was getting ready to go to build up my real estate portfolio. I was getting ready to go down the path of a self-directed IRA. And I started learning about the UBIT tax and all these things. And I'm like, why would anyone, the first thing that came to my mind was, why would anyone go to a self-directed IRA? But then I started, learning more and more about it. I got a copy of the book that Parker, showed just a moment ago. And it was perfect timing, because I was going on vacation with my family in Cape Cod, and I went through that book and was hell-bent on making sure that I could take advantage of this. And I was able to roll over some of my funds from my company sponsored 401k, as well as some other resources from an IRA that I had with Bank of America, and was able to use that and put it right into action and investing, in my case, into a real estate fund. And that was with the sponsor that was leading a really sizable real estate fund. I was able to within a few days of getting my account, my EQRP set up, I was able to put it right into action and invest in something that I had a chance to research. I had built relationship with the sponsor of this particular fund, and the rest is history from there. So this has been just such a powerful thing. And so and I'll stop by saying, what's important to me from this platform that we have is to be able to help bring this information to people. This is not things that are commonly talked about. and it's so important that we help educate people and to open their eyes to these different aspects of how people really go about building wealth. And this is one of those key foundational things that can certainly help people do that. So that's why I'm so committed to just making sure I can get people like Parker to come and share this knowledge with everyone so that we can all grow together.
I get it.
Cool. Hey, Nick, I see you joined. Do you have any questions or comments or for today or?
Hey guys, I'm really, I just joined literally like 5 minutes ago. So I was running around. I had some errands that I couldn't put away, and my phone was dying, so I couldn't like even listen in. So I terribly apologize. I'll be trying to catch up to the today's presentation later, but I just wanted to say like thanks for including me and everything, and I'm really getting up to speed, and I'm learning a lot from these sessions.
Great.
But yeah, I just apologize. I just joined. I'm just catching the vibes right now.
No sweat. What I'll tell you in the chat, Nick, there is you can get on Parker's calendar to speak directly with him, get some other information about
Cool.
the EQRP in particular. And then of course, this session is recorded, so you'll be able to have access to the recording as well. So yeah, I wanted to make sure that you were aware of that, but thank you for joining, even though I know you're running around a little bit.
Yes, sir. Now as far as the EQRP, are there any other resources like I could I'll look up on my own just to kind of like get learn more?
Yeah. So if you want to text EQRP to, if you can see the chat, I'll just throw it in the chat. But
Okay.
text EQRP to 307-213-3475. Well, it'll send you some information, send you a book for free. Really easy to get some info from us that way. And my calendar's there too. Chris can connect you with me directly as well. So there's a lot of different ways you can get that info.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, at this point, I'll stop the recording and then we can just mingle and talk a little bit. So let me go ahead and stop.